MTL Sports Podcast. We are on episode 29. Now, for today's show, as we talked last week, we have the NFC South, home of the Carolina Panthers, Mr. Brinkman's favorite team. We will be discussing and breaking down that division for you guys, let you know who's going to win, possible playoff teams, who has the best positional groups, such and so forth. And then after that, we will dive into rapid fire. We will break down the preseason college AP 25 poll for college football, and then some other topics as well. So please stay tuned. NFC South. Let's break down the division. Quick thoughts before we break down. I'm thinking it's going to be more or less just like last year. I don't feel like there's any breakout teams. I mean, last year was a lot of I wouldn't say average play in the division, but just a lot of teams were clumped up together, not really separated themselves. So Lawrence, I'll kick it off to you first. This is your division, home of your team. What team do you have winning this year, the division, and round out the rest of the teams in this division, their schedules?
All right. I took a very unbiased, humbled approach to doing this. After you're not supposed to take a lot of things into account during preseason. However, I'm going to take some things into account based on watching a few preseason showings. With that being said, I don't let it weigh too much on my judgment, but I'm going to let it weigh a little bit on my judgment. Okay. And I got the Saints winning the division pretty easily, kind of, as well. I just think with Derek Carr, I don't think they get any worse, and they weren't bad last year by any means. But unless he gets hurt by some chance, which he really has only gotten hurt one time at one of the most crucial points in the season. But he stays pretty healthy for the most part, so it shouldn't be too big of an issue. The coach has another year. This is going to be going into his second year as head coach. So he's going to have a chance to actually start implementing things that he wants to. They're all going to be without Kamara for about 3 weeks, which shouldn't be the biggest deal in the world. They should be able to bounce out of that real quick. I get it. Michael Thomas is their number one wide receiver, and he's completely unreliable. But this might be one of those years where he finally says, "Okay, let me come back and join the team and play." Regardless, they got Chris Olave. He showed out really well last year. They brought back Jimmy Graham. Kind of questionable on him now. It seems like CTE might have gotten to him.
Yeah.
Based on the latest reports. So I still think the Saints are going to take advantage of that division, pretty much everyone in their division trying to refocus and rebrand and rebuild. They're kind of the only one that doesn't really have to. All they did was bring in I wouldn't say an elite thrower. I would say an above average thrower to lead a group of guys in which they just had a below average to average thrower last year. So it gives them a little bit more. I wanted to give them a little bit more flexibility in the offense. I have the Falcons coming in second at 8-9. I think the fact that they're one of the few teams in the league that's just going to strictly just rely heavily on the run and go back and just kind of just play a hard-nosed defense, keep scores low. Desmond Ridder and Heineke are probably going to keep the scores low as well, but they're going to win close games. And the reason why I believe they're going to win close games is, was it Younghoe Koo? Koo is their kicker. Man is a beast. I almost pick him up every year in fantasy. So he's an all-around great kicker. He can single-handedly keep him surviving in a game. Next, I have Carolina also finishing 8-9. So both of them are finishing 8-9. I just think the Falcons finish second, and the Carolina comes in third. Their offensive line just looks really, really bad. I just can't even explain why. I got a second-year left tackle who can't even block so far in the preseason, which I get it. Communications, new everything basically on the offensive side. Also knew everything on the defensive side. It just seems like a lot to ask this team to rebrand and just jump right into winning after having the Matt Rule era in which they were horrible. I'm also not down for the fact that they didn't give Steve Wilkes a chance. That kind of disappointed me a little bit. I thought they were a really interesting team to watch last year at the end of the season. And then the fact that they kind of just moved away from everything that was working for them at the end of the last season with the power back and then the speed back and Hubbard. We're going to get rid of Dante Foreman. And we're going to move on to Miles Sanders. Kind of just got two of the same running backs at that point. I do think that one facet that we will have over most teams is our special teams. Our special teams is extremely good with our punter, Johnny Hecker, who's obviously probably one of the better punters in the league.
Okay.
Yeah, Blackshear is always good at returning, so we can always stay in a fight. I'm not big on our kicker, Eddie Pinheiro. I get he did really good last year, but in the past seasons before that, he's not proven very well. And then lastly, Tampa Bay at 4-13. What you see from Baker so far and everything, what I saw last year firsthand with Baker. I said 4-13. Oh, did I say 2-13? I meant 4-13. Yeah, okay. I don't think they're going to win that many games. Their defense is pretty much always injury. There's just injury everywhere. Todd Bowles, from his time at the Jets and his time so far at Tampa Bay, he's not had a disciplined team. They always commit so many fouls.
Yes.
And when you have a young rebranding team like that, you can't commit fouls. In which I think that's going to be one of the biggest reasons why they can't stay in games is because they just foul too often. I don't think they're going to be bad for years to come. I think they're going to be part of the sweepstakes to try to get Caleb Williams and, restart everything. I just think that Tampa Bay is going to be one of those teams where they let go of their head coach. They move on to an offensive head coach. They move on to a good offensive quarterback. I just don't have high hopes for the Baker era. I get it. Mike Evans is there. Chris Godwin's there. I firsthand saw how many balls got batted at the line for Baker last year as a Panthers fan. It just happens way too often. And it's not like they're going to have much of a running game because Leonard Fournette hasn't been producing the last couple of years. Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot of this team is good. So that's why I have them at 4-13, fighting for the quarterback, Caleb Williams.
Okay, I can respect that. Yeah, at first I thought you said like 2-14 or 3-14. I was like, whoa, that's a hot take right there. Yeah, because you got on me for saying the Bears are gonna be 2-15. I was about to get on your ass for that.
The Bears aren't gonna finish 2-15.
Probably not, insane. But they're gonna be pretty bad. All right, let's hop back to this division though. I'm with you. I got the Saints winning this division. I don't know what you said their record would be, but I got them
10-7.
10-7. Okay, I was leaning towards 10-7, but then I was just like, that's asking too much for like Michael Thomas to stay healthy, and then you're pretty much relying on Chris Olave for the first 3 games because Comer is out, and I'm pretty sure the rookie running back they got, Kendre Miller, I'm pretty sure he's hurt, so he's gonna be out for a couple weeks. So
I don't know. They got Jamal Williams.
So they got one of their 3 featured backs who's probably gonna pick up the workload. Hopefully he can stay healthy during that time. But yeah, I was listening to one radio show or YouTube or radio show, and they were like, yeah, like Saints should be a lock to win this division, but apparently just the gambling sites, the gambling houses, well, this was about a week ago, but they still have the Saints at plus money. So if you're a gambler, I feel like that's a good pickup right there. And I would have to agree.
The the Falcons are actually a weird team that's not favored, but they have low plus. So all these teams have plus money to win the division, but the Saints and the Falcons have the lowest plus money.
Yeah. So if I was a betting man, I would do the Saints. 9-8 is what I have them. I think it's going to be like a repeat of last year. No really power teams coming out of here. I feel like it's going to be a lot of just like edging each other to get to that top spot of the division. I don't think there's going to be anyone that's going to pull away this year. Then second, I'm opposite of you. I got your Panthers at second. Even though you lost DJ Moore, even though you lost, one of your running backs from last year, even though the offensive line is looking kind of bad, I do think, for me at least, what I've seen of Bryce Young throughout college and just some of the highlights from preseason, I think he's going to have a Joe Burrow type of rookie year where Joe Burrow was playing really well his rookie year before he got hurt. I'm not saying Bryce is going to get hurt his rookie year, but I definitely feel like he's going to have that type of impact coming, right out the gate. Even though your offensive line may not be the best, maybe it gels halfway through the season and you can get on a little win streak. Your schedule's not too bad, so I feel like, hey, a lot of these games are winnable. Like you said, you're going to keep them close because of your special teams and your defense. So I feel like you're just asking Bryce Young to just make a couple special plays here and there where he's capable of. I mean, he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes too, but hopefully I guess I'm going for more optimistic, sense of approach to this. So I got you guys at 8 and 9. Third and fourth, I have the Falcons and Bucks, both at 6 and 11. Falcons, I feel like, could easily edge out the Bucks to be more like 7 and 10, 8 and 9. But for me though, I just don't have faith in Riddler or Heineke, even though I believe Heineke deserves like a start to start on an NFL roster. I don't know if exactly the Atlanta's the right team for him. I feel like they don't have any notable receivers. They really only have Kyle Pitts. They have Bijan Robinson, but I mean, the man can only do too much, so much. So I'm just not sold. And the defense is what they needed to work on, and then they didn't really address that in the draft. So I'm not too sold on the Falcons and the Bucks. Like you were saying, I'm not sold on Baker. Not sold on Kyle. Was it Trost or Truce
Trask.
or whatever his name, Trask or whatever that kid's name is.
They also have John Wolford.
So all three of those options are bad unless Baker can somehow reinvent himself. He's shown flashes back at the Rams last season, but like they were just flashes. Like there was never enough consistency to say like, okay, Baker can play well anywhere, right? So
the thing with Baker, he really needs a good O-line, which is something that, for the most part, the Buccaneers can give him. They pretty much have a good O-line.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I just feel like he gets a lot of balls batted at the line, which is a big issue, and especially with this division, with Brian Burns coming off the side of one side, and then the next game you got Cameron Jordan, who just made a living off that. I mean, he made a living off that against Cam Newton, and Cam Newton was 6'5", so.
Yeah, I agree with you on that point. I just don't know if Baker can string together enough good games to not force Todd Bowles to like pull the trigger and start the other kid Kyle. So they're just gonna be in limbo. I don't think they're gonna ever have enough consistency to win enough games to get to top of the division. So I got them 6 and 11. Probably worse. Probably trending more towards what you said, like 4 and 13.
I'm just saying the Achilles heel of this team is the fact that last year it was just so many penalties, and that was with Tom Brady. Now they don't even have Tom Brady, and they're gonna get the same amount of penalties. So, I mean, it doesn't look well for them, I would say. And it's always been a Todd Bowles thing. When he was at the Jets, he always had good Jets teams. Well, I wouldn't say always had good Jets. He always had average to above average Jets teams, but it didn't matter what the Jets teams were. They would just get so many penalties, and they'd end up losing all because of it. And this
Yeah,
is one of the most penalized defenses last year in the coverage. So
this is true. But I feel like last year a lot of injuries plagued that team. So I feel like Todd Bowles was just given a bad hand last year. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. But to be fair, he's also given a bad hand at quarterback. He has slim pickings this year as well. So you had Tom Brady and then you don't. So it's gonna be a tough year for him. Hopefully he doesn't get fired. I feel like he deserves. If they can get Caleb Williams, I would say just give him a year or two with that kid. But that's gonna be a whole lot of teams trying to go for the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. So we'll see how that goes.
see, now that's an interesting thing because everyone's going to go for the Caleb Williams street stakes. And you think the Bears, so far, of all the teams we've done, are going to be the worst. And they're not going to want Caleb Williams because they're going to think maybe Justin Fields is still the future.
You know what? I feel like, and this is a little bit off topic, but I feel like if Fields doesn't show flashes this year, I feel like they will just keep the pick. I feel like it would be dumb to not pick him up because I feel like it was okay passing up on Bryce Young this year because you knew Caleb was coming next year, and you also know that you're still possibly going to be bad. So I feel like it's okay to, even though a lot of people were kind of grilling them, I feel like it's okay to pass up on them, because Caleb Williams next year if you're going to be bad again anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Let's move on. So we got our division winners. Do you think there's going to be another playoff team? I know you got a team 8 and 9. Do you think the Falcons sneak in?
I don't. If anyone was to sneak in, I think I would roll with Carolina to have a better record because I did say their special teams would carry them a little bit more in games. I also said that about the Falcons, but I think the Falcons at best finish 8-9 with their kicker carrying them. I think Carolina can finish 9-8 and sneak into that last wild card spot. Because you also have to take another look at this NFC division conference as a whole, which we'll dwell on it more in the next episode. But I think that the big kicker is the NFC East. All the teams are decently good, except for maybe the Commanders. But I still think they're decently good because of their defense. But they're all going to just start knocking each other out of playoff contention, and the strength of schedule those teams have is insane because they have to play the AFC West. So it's brutal, which I think they're going to end up beating each other up in order to get some of these 9 and 8 teams to sneak in.
Yep, I agree with you on that. I also don't have anyone sneaking in. I feel like if we're going to get some wild card teams, they're coming out that East. So I'm going to reserve some of my wild card spots for the NFC East. Moving on to the positional rankings, though, let's start at quarterback. I'll let you go first. Who's number one quarterback in this division? Is it Bryce Young? Is it Carr?
It's Derek Carr.
Okay.
You don't even need
pretty confidently.
You don't need to talk about it too. I wouldn't say in too much detail, but you know what you're getting out of Derek Carr. I don't think the Raiders is. I don't think the problem with the Raiders is his fault. If you look back at Josh McDaniels' first time as a coach, he went 6-0 and then immediately lost every game. And you look at last year, I mean, he didn't look very. The team just looked disorganized a lot of the times.
Yep.
They were also part of that problem that the Buccaneers have, and they always get penalties on them for some reason. They just never, no matter who's the coach, ever figures out how not to get penalized. I don't know if that's just a pet peeve against the Raiders or what, but they always seem to have a lot of flags. But I just think Derek Carr, he was always the blame for things not going the right way because, oh, dude, you got Josh Jacobs and you got Devontae Adams. Oh, why are you guys so bad?
Mm-hmm.
It's not rocket science why they're bad. Their defense can't stop anyone. Derek Carr can put up 30 points and it doesn't matter. Derek Carr only has because Waller and Renfro were hurt. So who do you have to throw to? Devontae Adams? Okay, just double team him.
Yeah.
Put 8 or 7 guys in the box. Stop Josh Jacobs, and we're just going to focus on Devontae Adams, put 2 guys on him. Now who are you throwing it to? And you just got to sit there and stutter because you don't know who you're going to throw it to. And you're just going to say, screw it. He's down there somewhere, kind of thing. But obviously he's not as good as Mahomes, so he can't just say, screw it, he's down there somewhere. But I don't think it really will matter that much because, in my opinion, only really Carolina has, like, extremely good corners. Maybe Tampa Bay a little bit if they can stay healthy, but yeah, everyone says the Falcons got one good corner, but I think he's a little questionable. But regardless, he should be able to throw all over them. I think I'm going to go with Bryce Young at number 2, just because of what he can be and what what the possibilities are. Just not to be that guy. I'm just going to put Baker at 3, even though I don't think he's at 3. It's just that, like, I didn't think Desmond Ridder in the important games. So this is my thing for Desmond Ridder, right? And we'll look at it's kind of a mean, look at, but like Malik Willis, what was his name?
Yep. Titans. Yep.
And when he played at Liberty, he looked great against the teams that Liberty played. Then he played like Ole Miss, and he looked bad. And he played in his bowl game, and he looked bad. When Desmond Ridder played against people that Cincinnati played throughout the season, and I think it's in the American Conference, he looks pretty good. Then he played in bowl games. Get it? One of those was against Alabama. He just didn't look that good. He just didn't look as good.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I'm going to chime in on that. And he always seemed to have a problem with Memphis every single year. But Desmond Ridder never really impressed me, in college. So I'm just going to give the edge to Baker. Even though I don't think they're going to have a worse record. I think that just comes overall team-wise. But I don't think Ridder is going to have to do a whole lot. I think they're just going to run the ball on everyone. And then you take a look at our next category. I know you haven't gone yet, but you look at that running back room for Falcons. It's pretty nice. So,
yeah, I agree with you. I think Carr is definitely the best quarterback in this division. I would put him, like, if we're going on a scale of QBs, he's like a little bit below Jimmy G. Like, he's above average. He'll get you, like, on like a team where everything's like, just right. He'll get you like 10 wins. I feel like that's his floor. Like Derek Carr. I mean, if you go back 2 years ago, like he got the Raiders to a playoff game, played against Cincinnati. It was a close game. They lost, but I mean, it wasn't like, hey, the Raiders were out of it or anything. It was just, hey, Cincinnati was a better team. They won. Raiders put up a good fight. Derek Carr, I don't remember how he played, but at least he got him to the playoffs. So you can't say he's bad. I just think, like you said, Josh McDaniels just doesn't have a good track record of being a head coach. So that had a lot to play with him not doing as well as, the previous season. But Carr at 1. I'm going to have to go. Yeah, I'm going to have to go Young too, just because of potential and what I know from my eye test back in college. Now, this isn't college anymore, but I think he'll do well. I feel like what I've seen thus far in the preseason tells me all I need to know. Baker 3, but that's for, possibility to change, right? And then 4, whoever plays more games between Riddler and Heineke. I do feel like at some point Heineke will get a start. I feel like they paid him too much money to like just be like a highly paid backup. I feel like they probably convinced them like, hey, like, not only will we pay you money, but like if this kid doesn't pan out, like we're trying to make the playoffs, like if this kid doesn't pan out, you can start. So I feel like that has a part to do with why he went to the Falcons. So
I think the Falcons, that they just went with Heineke instead, I think they're built for Heineke more so than Ridder with that running game. Mainly because, when he was at Washington, when he went to the playoffs that season, he had a really good running game. He's meant to be a quarterback that keeps control of the ball, doesn't turn it over, and slowly gets you down the field in order to score with your running game.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I don't like about starting him, but I get it. You have to do what you have to do.
Yeah. Always good to have a good backup, a good insurance policy. Now, you already alluded to it, but the running back room, we're going to have to give it to the Falcons. I mean, they got the best running back prospect in a while, Bijan Robinson. Some thought he would fall late first round, but the Falcons, no, they picked him up pretty early. I think they got him at what, like 9 or something, right? It was pretty early on. They got Bijan, they got Tyler Algieri, who rushed for over 1,000 last year, and then they have Cordell Patterson, who's just like a multi-tool. He can just do just about everything. So I'm gonna go Falcons number 1 by a long shot. Well, not long shot because Saints, they do have Kamara, they do have Jamal Williams, who played really well for the Lions last year, and then they picked up Kendre Miller, rookie from TCU. So I wouldn't say long shot, but there's some distance between the Falcons and Saints. So Falcons 1, Saints 2. Looking at the Tampa Bay depth chart for running back, I'm not too impressed. So I'll go Panthers 3, Bucks 4. What do you have?
Somebody announced. I just realized that Leonard is gone.
Yeah, I think he's still a free agent. Yeah, he's still a free agent. Last I've heard.
Yeah, I guess because I never heard him sign anywhere. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the Falcons just because of the room. You got Cordell Patterson, Tyler Algier. I mean, the fact even outside of that, like you got Bijan, he's obviously gonna start.
Yeah.
It's just too loaded of a room to not be the best. Next, I'd probably go with the Saints, like you are. Arguably, I think they're just as good. I think they might even have a chance of being better, just from experience purposes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because if you're starting 3, if Benjamin, who did really good for the Cardinals at his starting position, is like the worst one in your room at number 3. I mean, Jamal Williams, literally, dude, he was just so good with the Lions at scoring touchdowns.
He was the Lions.
Just literally bulldozing his way into the middle. So yeah, Kamara, in my opinion, don't take him in fantasy because he's not going to get touchdowns anymore. He's gonna be the guy that gets you down to the 10-yard line, and you're gonna put Jamal in there to run a couple plays, and he's better at protecting the quarterback as well. So then I'm gonna go slide over there to the Carolinas. I like Chuba Hubbard and I like Miles Sanders. I just think they're too alike, which is really kind of why I was questioning the pickup for Miles Sanders. But then again, they didn't pay a whole lot. They didn't pay a whole lot for him, so it was okay.
No.
And then Rasheem Blackshear is just a beast at punt return and kick return, so I'm okay with it. He also comes in there on third downs every once in a while and makes something happen at the backfield. And then Tampa Bay, I think they think Rachaad White is just going to take over for the team and Keyshawn Vaughn's going to follow him. But, dude, he had a really good season last year because he was fresh halfway through the season and everyone else around the league was, a little banged up. I think someone who may actually fight and maybe get a chance to start is Ronnie Brown out of Illinois, I think. Is that the guy from Illinois? Pretty confident he's from Illinois. No, he's not. I'm completely wrong. Nope.
What school we talking about?
Nope. That was a different guy. So, completely wrong in that department. Yeah, I think they're the worst ones in the league. Or not league, sorry. In the division.
Division, yeah. Okay.
But then you look at wide receiver, they completely make up for being the worst running back room by being probably the best wide receiver room with Mike Evans. We're just going to give it to him because of Mike Evans, but I mean, your pass thrower to you is what hinders you.
Yeah, very questionable at the quarterback.
Very questionable. And then for the Saints, this is where it gets tricky, right? So we think Michael Thomas is going to play. We always think Michael Thomas is going to play. We always think so.
Hopefully.
But we don't know that. So we're going to go on the basis of him playing, but then also not playing. And if he does play, they're number 2. If he doesn't play, I'd probably put him at 3. We're going to go with him playing. and we're gonna go Chris Olave, and I think it's Traquan Smith is their kind of deep threat. I think they're gonna actually cause a lot more problems this year. And then I'm just gonna say the Falcons had the third one, maybe the second one, just because Drake London, Mac Hollins at the Raiders did a great job at just being speedy. I mean, no one really, jumps out at your page, but the fact that they have Kyle Pitts, he doesn't score a lot of touchdowns, doesn't matter. He gets you down the field in order to score touchdowns. So,
Yeah.
Which is going to be good for your running game. And then last, I'm just going to put Carolina because I'm not really impressed with the receiving room. The only person that stands out and makes you go woof is, in my opinion, is Laviska Shenault, and the fact of what they can use him for. They're gonna try to use him like Deebo Samuel, which he completely can be used like Deebo Samuel, but is he gonna be as effective? 100% not.
Okay, I respect that. I'm gonna go the same order. I got Buccaneers 1, Saints 2, and this is all depending on if Michael Thomas can at least play half the season or a little bit more. Third, I would go Falcons, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. Should be good no matter who's throwing to him, if it's Heineke, if it's Riddler. Should be interesting to see. Cordell Patterson is going to make some catches, and I'm sure Bijan's going to get pretty involved in the pass game too. So, and then we'll go with your Panthers last, but I am intrigued with, the Thielen pickup and the guy you drafted, Mingo. Thielen at this point is going to be a possession receiver. And Mingo is kind of just like a rookie wild card who could have a really great year as a rookie, or could have some troubles, some hiccups, and might not catch on until late, kind of like Christian Watson of the Green Bay last year. But hopefully he does good, early on. He'll kind of help me out with their record. And you guys also picked up Hayden Hurst, another good possession tight end. He's not going to run up the field very fast. His hands are good, not the best. He's definitely dropped a lot of balls from Joey B last year, including one that probably cost us that AFC Championship game, but we're not going to go there. But
you just went there.
No, I did. I'm still bitter, but he's good. He's serviceable. I feel like he's probably a good pickup for you guys. I feel like he really could. You're going to use him well, so shout out to him. Moving on, we got the offensive line, the last of the position groups on offense. I feel like it's just all over the place. I feel like Saints, this is tricky. I feel like Saints do have a good offensive line. They can run the ball well. They've always been able to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But then everyone else, I feel like it's just not only tricky, but it's just like, what? Like, I don't know too much about the offensive line, so it's kind of just like, I'm just going to pick
other
off.
Ones, it just depends on who shows up.
Yeah,
because depends on that.
I feel like Buccaneers last year were spotty because of injuries. So, okay, these guys who come back from injury, are they going to just fit right back in? Are they going to be able to gel quick enough? Or is it just going to kind of throw everything off because, hey, you played with I think 2 or 3 of the offensive linemen from last year, didn't play. So they're coming back. So it's like, okay, do you gel like you were 2 years ago when Tom Brady's there? You have Baker, so you don't really know what he likes to do. Baker's going to scramble more, so you got to be more aware. It's just a lot. So probably, Saints 1. I'm going to go Falcons 2 just because from what I remember, they were more intact last year. Tampa Bay 3, and then I'm about to give you Panthers 4. But Panthers could easily switch with Tampa Bay because I feel like both teams just need time and consistent reps together. And then, when we reevaluate halfway through the season, I could definitely see teams flop, flip-flop.
So my only issue with Carolina's O-line is it doesn't look like it did last year, and they brought pretty much everyone back and just try to add depth. I do get it, though. They are missing one piece. It's the Rams. O-line they had brought in last year. Colbert or what? I think it's Schobert. I mean, outside of that, they just haven't looked really good at all in the preseason, which it may be too many mouths in that room trying to tell them different schemes. So regardless, I'm going to put them at 4 with the possibility of moving up, like you said. But then I'm going to move it around. I'm going to have the Falcons at 1 as the best O-line, just because of how strong and effortless their running game was last year. The fact of how many veterans they have, which easily could bite them in the butt as well, because veterans do tend to get hurt more often than younger guys on the O-line. Then I'm going to go Saints, Tampa Bay, but those two could be flip-flopped. Tampa Bay has a really good O-line. Now they just don't have a quarterback to protect, because that O-line was built for Tom Brady. So,
yeah, totally different quarterbacking style. So we shall see. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, let's go D-line. All right, who do we have as the strongest D-line in this division?
Straight off the rip, if you just want me to spill the tea, I would probably go Atlanta. Atlanta. I just think from what we saw of them last year, that was their forte, was controlling everything at the line.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they really went all in. If you look at their roster currently, they really went all in on trying to make sure that they get the cream of the crop and make sure they are putting the best foot forward on that D-line. And I think they think, based on their coaching, everything starts at the D-line and moves back. So I'm going to go Atlanta. I'm probably going to go Carolina second, just because of some of the pieces they stole. Like Deshaun Williams from the Broncos. We also stole Shai Tuttle from the Saints. So we've known what he can do. Derek Brown. I mean, if we remember correctly, Derek Brown was part of that trade package for the first overall pick. And Carolina was like, you know what? We're going to keep Derek Brown and we're going to keep Brian Burns. I get they had Brian Burns listed as a linebacker, but he's a defensive end. I'm not even going to try to play their game and say he's not. He's a defensive end all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. So there's a reason why they didn't want to get rid of those two pieces. And they decided, you know what? We kind of have to get rid of DJ Moore instead. Maybe they have him listed as a linebacker because they're going to run a 3-4, which I think is questionable. Running a 3-4 against the majority of your division being running oriented, but I'm still going to give them the edge. Then I keep going back between Tampa Bay. I'm going to go Tampa Bay, then New Orleans, but they're kind of like neck and neck with each other.
Wow.
My only issue with New Orleans is kind of just based on being a fanboy of the division, is a lot of important pieces from the last couple seasons that they have relied on and have been like, those guys on your team, they don't get a whole lot of recognition, but I see you every single time, every single down.
Yeah.
All of their guys are gone. And that's fair. It's going to happen over time. Only real key piece on that D-line is Cameron Jordan, and he's in his 13th season at 34 years old.
He's up there.
He's just getting a little old. So I'm just going to give the slight edge to the Buccaneers with Vita Vea and Shaquille Barrett. I don't care what the people are saying. He's a defensive end. Don't want to get it twisted.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of go that. Well, you know what? No, never mind. I'm going to go Saints, Buccaneers. I'm going to give the edge over Vita Vea to Cameron Jordan. You know what? Cameron Jordan did beat up Cam Newton plenty of times, so actually I can't do that.
Okay, fair enough. First two spots, I'll give it to you. I'm right in the same boat as you. The last two, I would. Wait, did I say? Yeah. Last two, I'm a flip flop. I got Bucks at number 3. I feel like Shaq Barrett was hurt last year, so I feel like him coming back should improve the defensive line, even though, like you said, he's listed I guess, incorrectly to what we think, but it's whatever. It's whatever ESPN wants to list as their depth chart. And then, yeah, I mean, Cam Jordan, like, you're right. He's very good, but getting up there in age, so there has to be a drop off at some point. I'm banking on it being this year. So I got the Saints last. Moving on to the linebackers. Now, this is definitely not my forte. I don't know too many of these linebackers in this division, at least. So I'll kick it off to you again. Who has the best linebacking core in this division? And does it I would say, like, in this division, does it matter to have a good linebacker? Like, do you need one?
I'm just going to put it out there. This division is one of those divisions where it's weird. Because from my experience watching a lot of these games, this is one of those teams where we're going to start seeing it get popular. They love to put safeties down there to play kind of a linebacker-ish role. And the reason why I do believe it started a couple years ago with Malcolm Jenkins for the Saints. Malcolm Jenkins literally never came off the field, always was on the field. He would move from safety. Then when they needed to play a dime or a nickel, they moved him over to like a linebacking spot just because he could do everything. He'll hit you hard. He'll coverage. That's kind of what Carolina does. So that's kind of where I'm in the between for Carolina for linebackers is on this thing they have Jeremy Chin listed as safety. No, Jeremy Chin is at best strong safety linebacker. He's not going to play safety. That's just not happening. They got Von Bell and they got Xavier Woods. Those guys are playing safety. Jeremy Chin is strictly a linebacker who's at safety, listed at safety. Same thing for the Buccaneers. They always, I want to say it's either Antoine Winfield. He almost never comes off the field. And when they need to go to the dime package, they just move him more inside. He plays really strong. But then as I look at the safeties now on that team, they got a lot of young guys. So moving him down may not be their move anymore. But it's been something they've done in the past. Like they've moved Winfield over to cornerback before. I've seen them do that. I've seen them move him at safety. I've seen them use him at linebacker. They literally use them everywhere. And that's kind of the Malcolm Jenkins effect that this division got from back in the day. But we're going to strictly go linebackers. What they have listed at linebackers. I'm going to go Carolina. And that might be a little biasy coming out. But I'm going to go Carolina.
Possibly.
Only reason is Frankie Louvu, Shaq Thompson. From what we've seen so far in the preseason, Kamu Hill. I mean, they've been really good. I mean, just straight up. They've been really good. DJ Johnson did really good in college. Now we go to linebackers for the Saints. They brought in Jalen Smith. Important asset. He's going to move a lot of pieces for them. But they got Demario Davis. He's in his 12th year. He constantly can't stay healthy.
Yep.
A little bit questionable. And Zach Bond has always been pretty good, so we're not going to say anything bad about him. Falcons, however, this is where their strength is stopping the run, but then getting beat everywhere else. They'll get thrown on because they want to make sure their secondaries do everything, but they have trouble over the middle. And that might be just a little bit because of their slowness of their linebacking core. So I'm going to go Carolina. I'm going to go Tampa Bay, and then I'm going to go Saints. I give Tampa Bay the edge because Devin White decided to come back for one more year.
Okay. I'm going to go Tampa Bay, your Panthers, Saints, then Falcons. I feel like Falcons, like you said, their biggest troubles last year was coverage, and their linebackers are not good in coverage. They can help stop the run. They're decent at that, but the other part of being a linebacker is you got to cover, and they just consistently aren't good at doing that. So, speaking of covering,
they're also like the only team that doesn't run the safety at linebacker. So they're the one team in the division that kind of doesn't do that, which I know you know more about this guy than I do, which goes back into this next episode or next thing of coverage, which is Jesse Bates. Do you think they're going to try to use him for everything? Because from what I remember, Jesse Bates hits hard.
Jesse Bates hits hard. He does play up more than usual, but he never was that hybrid guy. Like, he never, if they wanted to go nickel, Bengals were always a too high safety team. So, we pretty much relied on our corners to play good coverage, and our linebackers could get to the flats if needed to, if we ran zone or whatever. So, I wouldn't expect that. Jesse Bates is really just a too high guy he doesn't get beat deep. He's very disciplined, so I'm expecting that from the Falcons. Speaking of, just coverages in general, I think for the defensive backs, our last positional group, just looking at the list, I think we might have to go Saints number one. I feel like Saints have a lot of talent. They have Tyrann Mathieu. He's on the team. They got Marshawn Lattimore, Marcus May. And then when you compare it to the other teams, like, I feel like the only comparable is maybe the Buccaneers, because I feel like Falcons get thrown on a lot. Jesse Bates he'll help, but he won't help too much, And then you guys stole our other safety, Von Bell, who's above average safety. Didn't command Jesse Bates money, but it's definitely above average. Then you guys had Dante Jackson and J.C. Horn, who's good. He's really good. Yeah, Xavier Woods. So I would probably go Saints 1, Bucks 2, your Panthers 3, and then Falcons for sure dead last.
Okay. I'm gonna go Saints number one because I'm a big Marcus May, Marshawn Lattimore guy. I think Tyrann Mathieu's overrated, but he does his job right, so I'll just leave him alone. But he is a little overrated.
Fair.
Jonathan Abram is extremely good alongside, and then Bradley Roby just to be insurance policy is great. My problem with Tampa Bay is their lack of depth at corner besides Carlton Davis. They asked Carlton Davis to do a whole lot.
Yeah.
and he always does a whole lot. Jamil Dean, in my opinion, always seems to let them down a little bit. Not them, sorry. Always lets down Carlton Davis a little bit.
He gets picked on, yes.
Antoine Winfield is a good piece at safety, but they just lack a second safety. And it's been apparent for the last couple seasons. I never thought Ryan Neal was that kind of second safety guy, but they've always tried to make him it. But I know that Kayvon Merriweather from Iowa has a good chance to do some things. I remember watching him a lot. I mean, they got a lot of rookies in here. They're just probably trying to play who's the best asset to our team. I think a team that I haven't paid attention to enough so far and what they've done is the Falcons. And if we look at their corner room now, it looks really nice. They got Trey Flowers, they got Jeff Okudah, AJ Terrell, Avery Williams. I mean, kind of good. So I had to give it to them. They did do that department right. But then outside of Jesse Bates, it's just completely questionable over there at safety from what I've seen for the last couple seasons. And then for Panther fans, please stop the hate on CJ Henderson. I get it, but he had one bad game last year, and everyone just let him have it. They just shit on him. But like, dude, sometimes you just have a bad game, and he had a bad game at one of the most important junctures of the season. But you also got to remember, like, he's your number 3, number 2 guy at best, number 2, and he was forced into the role of playing number 1 corner.
Yep.
Like, you shouldn't be. I mean, I get it, he was not overall number 1 pick, but he was a first round pick. But he never got the correct coaching down in Jacksonville because after his first year, his coach left. Then he got thrown into the fire of Urban Meyer. He got just completely torched in that. I mean, you saw how bad Urban Lawrence was. you saw how bad he was his first season. That was just because there was no guidance,
Nope.
and you can't blame CJ for that. But he turned it on at really crucial times. He had some really good picks, so everyone needs to stop the CJ. And this mainly just Panther fans. They all just want to shit on CJ Henderson. There's nothing wrong with him. If you're gonna shit on anyone on the team, you got to shit on Dante Jackson. Man's, in my opinion, is just a complete liability. The fact that we decided that we were gonna pick Dante Jackson over Bradbury is the one thing that I will never understand in my entire existence. I have a Bradbury jersey. I loved Bradbury. That was the complete dumbest move they've ever done. I was like one of the only Panther fans to ever have a Bradbury jersey.
Huh.
I got it his rookie season because I thought he was that good, and he wasn't even that good his rookie
Wow.
season. There was just potential, but it was a complete idiotic move keeping Dante. Man gets hurt by week 5 every single season. He's completely useless. I don't know why we kept him. So that's why I don't think there should be hate on CJ because he steps up and does everything he's supposed to. Just a little tangent run there, but outside of that,
All good. All is good.
I would just have to say New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Atlanta. I just don't think Atlanta has too many new pieces in order to try to get them conglomerated. I think by midseason they could be really good. I think with the defensive head coach that the Buccaneers have, that's going to be their focus. So I'm just going to give them the slight edge. And obviously just the room itself, like the Saints are just a little bit above everyone else. But Carolina's right there with them. Just stop the CJ Henderson slander, you guys. Like, he's not that bad. He had one really bad game. Outside of that one game, I don't understand what the issue was. He did fine.
Yeah, I don't know what game you're talking about, but maybe it was like a must-win game, and
It
he
was
just
a
got
must-win game.
torched.
They had to beat the Buccaneers in order to go to the playoffs. If they lost, the Buccaneers were in the playoffs. And Carolina was doing so well, but I think we're up. I think we're up by 10. And CJ Henderson completely just let Mike Evans double juke him and go right past him, and then just got completely beat. And then Mike Evans did it again in the fourth quarter to him. You're getting mad at the guy for being a fourth-year player getting beat by Mike Evans. Like,
yeah, it's like Mike Evans. You gotta calm down a little bit.
It's Mike Evans, and he's not even near. And he's at best number 2 corner, being forced into the role of playing number 1 corner because J.C. Horn got hurt the game before. Dante Jackson is always hurt. And we decided that we were going to pick up Josh Norman the same week and try to play him, and that wasn't going to work.
Yeah, not the best plan there, but that's pretty much all the position groups. We gone through them all. Any final thoughts about this division? Any possible surprises that our viewers should know about or that you foresee?
I mean, if Dante Jackson doesn't get hurt, which he will, but if Dante Jackson doesn't get hurt, this defense is actually, in my opinion, threatening. I think a big thing they should do is move Dante Jackson to the slot.
Okay.
And let CJ play outside. I think that's just my 2 cents. I mean, if you look at stats-wise, Dante Jackson's 5'10", 180. CJ Henderson, 6'1", 205. Which one of those 2 guys do you think is more agile? Dante Jackson also was a track athlete in college. Which one of those guys do you think is more agile? You put the more agile guy in the middle, across the middle to cover the slot guy. I just think that's the better way to run it. But I think Carolina can run a lot of man coverage if they put Dante in the middle. Next thing, Saints defense is going to keep them in games for most of the season. I think this is why I think Derek Carr is probably going to have one of his better seasons of his career, just because he's going to pick on a weaker division. He's going to have a defense that actually wins him games instead of him having to win every single game. Like I said, I think I think Devin White's going to have it come back to haunt him for staying. I know he didn't want to leave Levante David, but I just think that those two guys are going to struggle a little bit with that front line for the defense. Is just a little bit older in some spots, questionable in others. The Falcons are the sleeper team. I did give them finishing second. They are projected to do really well according to like sports betting apps. But no one really thinks they're going to do that well. But in my opinion, they do have a defense that can help them stay in games. A weak conference schedule. And I think if Heineke gets to play, I think they can win a lot more games than if he doesn't. But I don't think they would start Heineke. I think that just would be a little crazy, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that at first. Like I said, probably some agreement was made that if Riddler doesn't get them to a certain record at a certain point in the season, he probably will get a shot. So I feel like that's my kind of like, if there's a hot take to have, I feel like that's probably what I would have to say. But yeah, that's the NFC South, everyone. Next episode, we are moving east. So we have, I guess, the juggernaut division of the NFC, some would say. We have the NFC East. So we will break that down for you guys. So, stick around for next episode. It'll be dropping later this week. But for now, we got to move on to Rapid Fire. Coming up next, we will break down the AP Top 25 poll for college football, which college football is starting this weekend. So we'll break that down, plus some more topics. So please stay tuned. Now, first, we have the AP Top 25 poll, like I said earlier, for college football, dropped, I think, last week. Let's just dive into it. We'll let you know our feelings about it. I want to say for the first time, I forgot the year, Bama's not in the top 3. So we have Georgia number 1 with 60 first place votes. Number 2, we got Michigan with 2 first place votes. Number 3, we have Ohio State University with 1 first place vote, followed by Alabama at 4, LSU 5, USC 6, number 7 Penn State, 8 Florida State, 9 Clemson, 10 Washington, 11 Texas, 12 Tennessee, 13 Notre Dame, 14 Utah, 15 Oregon, 16 Kansas State, 17 TCU. Further down the list, we have Oregon State at 18, 19 Wisconsin, 20 Oklahoma, 21 UNC, 22 Ole Miss, 23 Texas A&M, 24 Tulane, and 25 rounding out the top 25 is Iowa. Lawrence, how do we feel about, first, this 2-part question, how do we feel about Bama not being in the top 4 teams? And then 2, how do we feel about the rest of the list? Is it what you were expecting coming into the beginning of college football season, which starts on Saturday?
I'm ready to go off. So I'll let you. I'll answer the Bama question, and then I'll let you go, and then I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna go ham on this thing. First off, I don't have a problem with Alabama. On my list that I pulled up, it has Alabama at number 4.
Yeah, number 4.
Okay, so outside the top 3. First time
I'm
outside the top 3.
Yep.
I have no problems with it. I have no quarrel with it. Only the fact of that being, this is like the first year Alabama was going to the season with no identified standout starting quarterback, which I would say before Tua, that wouldn't have been the biggest deal in the world because they always had extremely good running games to make up for the fact. I think they're always going to have a good running game, but now you look at college football, it's all about the passing attack. It's all about getting the ball down the field, moving it precisely, moving it quick. You're playing Georgia. You're playing LSU. You got to move the ball effectively with the passing game. You can't just run the ball. That being said, I have no problems with Alabama outside the top 3. I think Alabama's overrated half the time. Not to the point where they shouldn't be in the top 10. No, they should be. But half the time people just give Alabama the name of Alabama. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, Alabama can never be outside the top 4, even though like they have 2 losses on the season and the top 4 teams have 0 losses. They're still like, oh, Alabama's better. What makes you say that? Okay, maybe because they lost to the number 1 ranked team. That's true. But then they lost to like a team like LSU, where you're like, well, LSU's not bad, but they're not great in past years. So
They
I just
had
think Alabama.
two fluky losses last year.
I just think Alabama I think it's okay for them not to be as high. I also think Alabama last year should have lost to Texas if it wasn't for the refs. So,
all right.
I can say that he's my quarterback.
Now he is. It's not nice when he was an Alabama quarterback and not yet a Panther.
When he was a pro.
I'm with you. I feel like Bama, it's okay for them to be at the top 3. I mean, the top 3 teams, I mean, Georgia is just, in terms of just like recruiting and just going into the season, just playing well with the kids they recruit is just unbelievable. Kirby Smart is doing a hell of a job. Really turned Georgia around. The Ohio State University, always good. They just grabbing kids left and right. Doesn't even matter. They always really good with recruiting. Doesn't matter who's the coach there. They're just going to be really good. Michigan, I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought maybe because we all knew Harbaugh was going to get suspended some amount of games, so I figured that would somewhat account for maybe a drop in the rankings, but maybe their schedule is just really easy early on. I mean, most of the time it is for, these powerhouse schools. Their first couple of games are against, like, I hate to say it, but like, sorry, college teams.
Say what you want to say.
It just happens. It's just part of like college football. Yeah, let me look at the first game. Yeah, the first game is against East Carolina. Like,
yeah, but it doesn't have to be like that. Other teams actually, like if you look at Utah versus Florida, they stepped out of the shell and they're like, you know what, Utah versus Florida first week, that's a good matchup. I get Utah's in the top 25 and Florida's not. Florida's always a good team. So
yeah, for sure, I agree with that. But yeah, I guess not. So no problems there. Bama can regain some ground once one of these top 3 teams eventually does get knocked off, I feel like. So the rest of the list, how do we feel? Do we have any teams undeserving to be on this list, or is everyone, going into this college football season, deserve to be on there? Here we go.
Tulane's too low at 24.
Okay.
I'll sit up and say it. If you're gonna have USC at 6, and Tulane did that amazing, incredible upset win in the bowl game versus USC, they got a lot of the pieces still coming back for this next season. How you have them at 24, I just think that's a little disrespectful and rude. Interesting that 4 Pac-12 teams are in the top 25, but yet the conference apparently is quote unquote too unrepairable to be competitive. Seems like a little bit of a cop out. Seems like they just want money. Tennessee 12, too high. They lost too many important pieces to stay that high. They don't know who their quarterback's going to be. Regardless of that, Hyatt's gone. There is no over the top threat as much as there was last year. It's going to be really important. Tennessee always plays really tough schedules. I don't think we're taking that into account. I just think they're just a little bit too high for what they're going to become now. UNC, too low. The quarterback is staying for one more year. Most of the wide receivers are staying back for one more year. That offense was prolific. They have another season to make the defense just a slightly bit better, which they tried to. I do know they had 2 top recruits on the secondary side. So why they're so low, questionable. Maybe they should be a little bit higher. Oregon State on this list is a sham. Oregon State's never good, no matter what they do. Why is Oregon State in the top 25? Get canceled. Stop trying to be like that.
Okay.
Iowa in the top 25. Iowa's had the worst offense last year in the NCAA. Let me say it again. Iowa won a lot of games last year. They had the worst offense in the NCAA.
Okay.
I get it. They did bring the quarterback in from Michigan. He did lose his starting job, so they think maybe the team's going to be better. The offensive coordinator is the coach's son, and he still hasn't gotten fired. The offensive coordinator is absolute dog water. He is absolutely bad. They basically told him that his pay now is going to be based on production. They did give him a huge pay cut. So I'm an Iowa fan, so I know all about this. The coach's son got a huge pay cut. A lot of his money is going to come from incentive base, and that means showing out. One reason why Iowa won games last year was their punter and their defense. They lost two important pieces on defense, one to the Packers, one to the Lions. It's going to be extremely questionable whether this team can stay that healthy. Overall, I just don't think they should be in the top 25. Make them earn it. Next, Washington, questionably too high. Don't understand. Penn State. I think Penn State should be above USC. Penn State just showed a lot more last year. Penn State finished the season at like 5. Questionable. Don't understand it. LSU should be above Alabama. Don't know why they're not. TCU is here because they were in the top 4 last year. It's okay. They're not going to be there again. They lost too many pieces. It's okay not to have them in the top 5. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Kansas State, respected. I like it. Just wanted to give them a shout out. They deserve it. I'm glad they're above TCU. Oklahoma, you're not that good. You're just a name value. No. Good luck staying in the top 25. Everyone else, we'll see in a couple weeks. But synopsis of it, complete disrespect to Tulane and what they accomplished last year in that bowl game. Yeah. Oregon State is overrated, like they're always going to be. And Iowa and Tennessee. Tennessee, you questionably deserve to be in the top 25, probably top 20. Iowa, just get out.
Okay, I like the analysis there. Some of it I agree with, some like your LSU take, I do not. I feel like the only things that I have to critique this list about, I'm with you with OU. Oklahoma does not deserve to be in the top 20. It's just a name recognition thing. I can very easily see them dropping out the top 25, probably like in the first 3 to 4 weeks. Same Oregon State, like maybe their schedule is easy in the beginning and they can stay on this list for a little bit, but eventually I see them falling off really quickly. I would say one thing I'm surprised about is South Carolina, like not on this list. Like they finished out last year strong. Shane Beamer should have been hired by my Hokies, but they're just a bunch of garbage now when it comes to their athletic department. For whatever reason, didn't decide to hire him as the heir apparent to Frankie. But it's not a story for tonight. He's doing wonders as South Carolina really turned that program around, which basically fell apart after Jadeveon left. So I'm surprised they're not there. They probably will be on that list at least by like week 2 or 3. And my hot take, I'm just going to put this out there. In their second year of FBS eligibility, I think JMU, James Madison, will be on this list at some point this season. They are very, very good. I feel like they're the sleeper team in college football. And at some point, they will be in the top 25, probably anywhere from 20 to 25 at some point.
Well, they did get one road, so.
Yep, and they weren't bowl eligible last season because in your first season, there's some rule where you can't be bowl eligible, even though they played extremely well last season and probably would have made a bowl. But it's not the here nor there as well.
So others receiving votes, Texas Tech, South Carolina, UCLA, UTSA, and Arkansas just missed the cut.
Yep, and at some point, UCLA will probably sneak onto that list. Like I said, one of those teams that I mentioned are going to fall out. Like a TCU is probably going to fall out too. Like a South Carolina, UCLA, Arkansas, if they play consistently, they might go in there as well.
Okay, so we're going to have hot takes. My hot take is Kansas is going to be in the top 25 for at least 2 to 3 weeks.
Wow, Kansas.
Well, Kansas got votes. Kansas is really good. They just have a really good quarterback at the moment.
Yeah.
And if you look at it, there's some ranked teams in their division, their conference, the Big 12, that I think they can sneak wins over. And honestly, all it takes is beating TCU. And I don't think TCU is going to be all that good. So all it takes is beating TCU for Kansas, and you're leapfrogging. And then all you got to do is survive up there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to see. My biggest thing is we need one team from VA to be in the top 25. The days of the Hokies doing it are gone. Maybe JMU can do it. Maybe ODU can pull a miracle season and get in the top 25. But that's right now.
You didn't mention UVA. What's up with that?
Yeah, they're kind of like rebuilding right now. I don't feel like they're going to be too hot. So moving on, let's talk about Jonathan Taylor. So I think a couple episodes ago we discussed his role with the Colts. Well, it looks like it's about to change again. He's been a part of like excused absence from the team. I think it's like personal matters is all they would say, but coming out today, reportedly he has been granted permission by the team to look for trade partners. So it was pretty obvious he wanted out. They're not trying to pay him money. Jim Irsay's just being a cheap old geezer. So I'll kick it off to you first. Like, do you think first is a two-part question. Will there be a trade for Jonathan Taylor before the start of the season? And two, where do you think he will end up?
I'm going to put me on the spot. If he ends up anywhere, he ends up on Tampa Bay and the division we were just talking about, because it makes sense. I think maybe they realize halfway through the season that what they have in the room isn't going to cut it. Baker and Kyle Trask need a little bit more help, and they think that if they start the next season off with a young rookie quarterback, a nice piece at running back might help. So they seem like a great team. Thinking, pop my brain around other parts of the league. A smart move would be the Dolphins. So that way they can take some stress off their quarterback. Other smart moves would be like, Jonathan Taylor's built for playing in like Buffalo. He'll have to take a pay cut, which he doesn't want to do. But those are just some of the ones that just, first things first, you think about it, those are the ones that pop out and make the most sense in terms of what they've always needed and what they've always lacked. People will say that, oh, yeah, the Chiefs should get him. The Chiefs have never been like, we need the best. I don't think the Chiefs have had an all-star running back since like Chris Johnson back in the day. Unless you call him. No, I'm not even going to count Shady McCoy. So.
No, when Shady get to the Chiefs, no. What about what's his name? What's the guy with the dreads? Him and Alex Smith. He was good. Who's that guy's name? God. I'll have to come back to it later. It'll come back in my head. But
wasn't it like McAllister?
No, not McAllister. Who was that guy's name? I'm looking it up right now. Let's say history. But anyway, getting back on topic, do you think he will get traded like before the start of the season, or is it something where this happens? Jamal Charles, that's what I'm talking about. He was a good running back for the Chiefs. Yeah, but I don't know if he got Dalvin Cook money. He was just very dynamic, could run, could catch.
I said
speedster.
I said Chris Johnson, but in my brain I was literally thinking Jamal Charles. Yeah.
So trade before the season or halfway through?
It'll be interesting.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be halfway through. I don't think he moves. Okay. I don't think he moves until a team realizes he's stuck and he's not going to play, and then he wants to make a name for himself, kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, we're like week two. Week two's about to end as soon as tonight's game is done. So we're moving into week three. Teams are really looking right now instead of in the future. Like they're trying to look at the running backs they have on the roster already and just pick from them. And then probably week two, week three, once they realize the picks that they made with their running back, core, it's not looking too good, then I think he'll get a chance to go to another team. So I would say teams on my radar. You already said one of the Dolphins. Jonathan Taylor's still young, still on his rookie deal. I think he still has. I think he's a first round pick, so he technically still has 2 years. So you could probably trade for him and then extend him off that last year's number, whatever that is. I feel like he'll be happy with 12 or 13 million. But anything around 18 or something, I don't think he's worth that. So the Dolphins, Buffalo, if he's willing to take a slight pay cut. I think the Vikings would definitely look at it if, don't they have McKinnon now is he's a starter?
Mm-hmm.
Or no, it's is it him?
It's Pacho. No, sorry, it's Madison. Sorry,
Madison. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
Pacho.
So
It's Pacheco. I was thinking of Chiefs.
If the Vikings running back situation doesn't pan out how they thought it would, and Kirk Cousins needs more relief, in terms of running the ball up the field so he doesn't have to throw 40 or 50 times a game. I could see a trade there. I don't know what that trade package would look like, what the Colts will want. I'm assuming just picks. So if the Vikings have a second and a third, then I would send that their way and see if that's enough to get Jonathan Taylor, because I feel like Jonathan Taylor, Justin Jefferson, Addison, I feel like that's a nice little offensive, little combo they got there. I feel like that's enough to maybe push them into, not the wild card, to get them to at least the divisional round. But yeah, we shall see. This is ongoing. Like I said, it just happened today. So if anything else happens, we will let you guys know. But that's the end of rapid fire. We are moving on into trivia. So you said you had a college football question. I have a college football question. I'm going to let you go first. What is your trivia question, my friend? What you got for me?
So I got a two-parter. And what NCAA football team holds the record for the longest winning streak?
Damn. Is it? Damn. What school? Is it Miami or something?
I will say it happened in the 50s. And it was 47 games.
Oh God. It's probably Oklahoma?
It is Oklahoma. Just for funsies, though, the average senior who started as a freshman plays 52 games. So 47 games is a lot. It's almost as many games as most seniors get to play in their whole career.
Yeah.
And then last question, what NCAA football team has the longest losing streak? At 34 games.
Isn't it not Weber State, is it, or something like that, or damn it.
What are you damning?
Because I felt like I knew this one, but the name is slipping my tongue. Sweet. I feel like me and my buddies have made fun of them before. Is it like are they like a FBS team or they're like a FCS?
Oh, they're the top tier. That's FCS, right? No, it's FBS.
FBS is
No,
like Alabama, all of them.
yeah, they're FBS. They're top epsilon. They're in a top 5 division.
No, they're in the top
They're
five
part of the Big
conference.
Five. They're part of the Big Five.
Let's see here. I'm gonna have to go with a couple guesses. Let's go Duke.
It is not Duke.
Okay. Let's see here. I feel like it can't be a school in the South. That's just like that wouldn't be right. Is it like Washington?
It has similar colors.
What, blue?
No, like purple and
TCU?
no. You want the answer?
Is it Mississippi State?
No.
Oh, God damn it. Purple.
It was
Normal.
It was 79 to 82.
Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty old.
Northwestern Wildcats.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was never gonna guess Northwestern. That wasn't gonna happen. Like, I'm glad I got Oklahoma though. I was figuring it's gonna be like a Southern or like Midwest school, so it's just historically been good. But okay, I got you. My trivia question for you, also college football related. So since the year 2000, it's kind of a two-part question. Which schools in the same season have had a Heisman Trophy winner and won the national championship? So give me the Heisman winner and the school. If you can remember the year, that's good, but you don't need to.
Wasn't it Jameson Williams, Florida
Who?
State?
Say that name again.
Jameson Winston.
Jameis Winston. Yep.
Florida State?
Yep. Do you know the year?
Is it 2013?
Yep.
That's just one of them, huh?
That's one of there's a few more.
I don't think Cam Newton won the national championship. No, I'm going to go Cam Newton, Auburn, 2010.
Cam did win the Heisman and national championship. One of my favorite national championship games. That was 2010. You're correct.
Okay, 2-2. I think in 2000. How many are there?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7.
So you're 2 of 7.
That's disgusting.
It's actually pretty impressive.
Was it Derrick Henry, Alabama?
That's another.
That has to be like 2014. 2015. Now 2014.
Alabama did win that. Did have that happen to them? It was 2015. You're correct.
So close. Regardless, I knew it was in that area. Let's see. McCarron never won that Heisman, right?
AJ, no. He was close, though.
That's
He was
fair.
close. I think he came in second.
See. I'm thinking too recent. I know there's going to be some that are way older. It's got to be some.
Now, we're going from 2000. We're not going like back in the 90s,
I know,
80s.
but I'm trying to. I don't know anything past like probably like 2008, 2007. That's where it's going to get me. It was probably like Matt Leinart, 2002, 2001.
What school?
USC.
Yep, that's one. He won back in 2004.
2004. Oh, I was way off. Then you got the other guy, Vince Young, Texas.
Nope. Remember Reggie won and later got it vacated. Free Reggie. # free Reggie. Give him his damn award back. He didn't do nothing wrong.
See.
Great national championship game, by the way. That was like one of the first I can remember watching as a kid. That was a damn good game.
So what, I got 4 now? 4 out of 7?
Because you said Cam, Jameis, Matt, and Derrick Henry. So you got 4.
Here.
4 out of
Back
7.
to the Pat Combs. It would be Joe Burrow.
Joey B, yes.
2019? 2019 LSU.
Yep.
That's 5.
That's 5. 2 more.
Tua didn't win the national championship, did he? I don't think Tua. No. Is it Tua 2018 Alabama?
Tua never won Heisman.
That's what I thought.
Came close. Then Tua came in second.
Let's see. McCaffrey didn't win the Heisman.
Nope. Was a nominee. Did not win.
He didn't even go to the national championship. He just beat the shit out of Iowa.
If you need a hint,
starting to hit a wall. Now I'm starting to hit a wall.
Okay, so the last 2 players on this list played for the same school. So maybe that'll help you out.
If I can get one more hint, is it SEC?
That's just yes going to give it away.
I think that's pretty much a yes, dude. Okay,
yes,
so it's SEC.
Yes, that's a yes.
It's got to be an Alabama guy. It's got to be a running back. So we got to think about running backs from Alabama back in that heyday. Running backs from Alabama back in that time. Oh, man, who's the guy who's bounced around the league?
He ain't bounced around the league.
He's always been somewhere. He's always been somewhere.
Don't say that about him. That ain't right.
He's always been somewhere, dude. That
ain't right.
Oh, man. You know, a part of me was going to go Matt Barkley, but I'm glad that I know it's all in one school. I don't think Matt Barkley ever won No, USC's never been to a national championship. I'm stupid. Man, this man's bounced around the league, dude. He's just been going from team to team, just chilling.
Not
making
true.
A killing. Don't. It's true. It's so true.
He's a vital contributor. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll give you another hint. You are right, there's a running back, but the second guy is not a running back.
Yeah, I don't think I know anyone. I know they're Alabama, and I know they're a running back.
Okay, one's a running back. The other one's a different position.
I'm pretty sure the other one's quarterback.
There's only one Alabama quarterback that's won a Heisman. I'll say that.
Oh, that's the one I'm missing, huh?
No. The guy you drafted did not make the college football playoffs
But Bryce Young didn't win a national championship.
Yep. So, it's pretty. I mean,
the year of the running back.
You want the year?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe I think he won the Heisman in. Let's check.
Oh, dude, it was like
2009.
Oh, dude, I know who it is too. I like how they're just looking at me right now. I literally have that smirk on that dude's face. I remember watching this is like a peak memory, and I literally can see the dude running on the screen against Tennessee in a big run all the way down the sideline, and I'm blanking. I don't know the next two. I'm just gonna be so disappointed.
Okay, so I'll give you the second guy who's not a running back is very, very recent Heisman Trophy winner. They won in 2020.
Nah, I mean I stopped paying attention. That was like the year after we graduated. That was COVID, man. I wasn't paying attention. That was the year I took off.
That's all we had to do was watch the college football. How do you not? You should at least know this most recent one. This guy is just off the chain.
So he's off the chain. Obviously, I don't know who he is.
As in, he's very, very talented.
And they're from Alabama?
Yeah.
And Alabama won in 2020, and it wasn't Tua? Come on, dude. That's just not fair.
Are you giving up?
Oh, wait. Was it Devontae Smith? Eagles?
Yeah.
Alabama 2020?
2020. The only Alabama wideout to win the Heisman. I think the first wide receiver to win the Heisman in like forever.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that one came back to me real quick. That one really just hit me right in the face real quick. No, dude, the running back from 2009, that's Alabama. I have a vivid memory of him just lighting up Tennessee, and I can't remember who it is.
I think he was the first Alabama player ever to win the Heisman too. So this was pretty historic.
You can stop Alabama on the map. You can stop Alabama.
Put Alabama on the map for making running backs, running back powerhouse for the NFL.
Was it Murray? No,
not Murray.
Ingram.
What's his first name?
Dumb, dude.
I'll give it to you. Mark Ingram II. Mark Ingram II, first Alabama player to win the Heisman, 2009. Also won the national championship. Yep.
Ingram.
Mark Ingram, drafted to the Saints.
Yep. I have a vivid memory of Mark Ingram destroying Tennessee. It was like, pretty sure it was like 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, but my house is decorated for Thanksgiving. I always remember every game on Thanksgiving, the weekend, like after Thanksgiving, they always have rivalry weekend where all the rivals play each other. And my mom always decorates the house in Christmas. And for some reason, we always end up watching Virginia Tech versus Virginia on 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 Friday, while in the nighttime while setting up Christmas lights. And for some reason, I have the vivid memory of Mark Ingram while setting up a Christmas tree.
He'll do that to you. He was really good in college. But yeah, that was a good little trivia session. I got another spicy question for you on Thursday, so don't you worry. It will be college football related. I already got it written down somewhere. So,
hey man, the top five, the first five I got pretty quick.
Yeah,
with the years.
Yep.
I hit a wall.
Hey, it happens.
Us
It
big
was a
boys,
good question, but good effort by you as well. I will
You see
admit.
me try to run a mile.
But that's the end of trivia, guys. That's the end of rapid fire. Any final thoughts before we wrap up the show today? Anything? I know for me, just before we get up out of here,
well, my internet.
It was crazy.
Out.
Stephen A. reported during First Take today that Stephon Diggs was like, "Oh, I have a source that Stephon Diggs wants out," and then immediately, an hour or two later, Stephon Diggs is like, "No, that's not true. Where is he getting this source from, or whatever?" He was like Bill's Mafia for life or something. I don't know. It was pretty funny. So I want to see Stephen A.'s rebuttal on First Take tomorrow morning. I don't pay for First Take, but I would love to see the highlights on YouTube. So we were going to talk about that, but that didn't happen. So it is what it is. But this is the MTL Sports Podcast, episode 29. We will catch you guys on Thursday, or I guess episode 30, whenever that is. So until then, y'all, peace.
Giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of